Hello, so today we're going to be presenting our final presentation for our budgeting application, Don't Go Broke. My name is Kelly Rinse.
I'm Cody Clark.
I'm Katie Carlson.
And I am Tristan Stocks.
So Don't Go Broke is a budgeting application specifically designed for young adults striving to take control of their finances with confidence. Our application empowers users to track income, manage expenses, and set meaningful savings goals. By encouraging the development of healthy financial habits and providing a better understanding of spending patterns. Don't Go Broke aims to bridge the gap between financial awareness and practical money management. What sets our application apart is its emphasis on simplicity and accessibility, making financial management less daunting for beginners. Available on both Android and iOS platforms, the app ensures a seamless experience for users on either operating system. Let's walk through our software development lifecycle process and highlight some of the app's key features.
So this is the SDLC process, also known as the Software Development Lifecycle process. During this process, there are several steps that we followed to produce a functional application. First, there's the planning phase, then there's the gathering requirements phase, then the design phase, implementation, testing, deployment, and maintenance. For the planning section of the SDLC process, first we created a Discord server to communicate about the project and discuss project milestones. We decided to split the work between front-end and back-end development using Flutter as our framework to build the app. Since we are developing a mobile app, we researched emulators and decided on using the Pixel 9 emulator, testing the code on Android Studio. We also decided on using the waterfall design methodology as we believe it fit our use case best. Finally, we organized our GitHub repository as our version control software. We chose GitHub because it is easy to use, industry standard, and tracks changes in the code across different versions.
So during the design phase, we focus on creating an intuitive and user-friendly structure for the app. We started by identifying the main pages that are central to the user's financial journey. These include the home, transactions, budget, and overview pages. To further enhance functionality, we added a settings page, which also includes access to the user's profile. This ensures that the user has a centralized place to manage their account and app preferences. Lastly, we designed the login page to load first upon startup. This ensures secure access and sets the stage for the personalized experience that follows. These carefully structured pages aimed at providing the user with a seamlessly and empowering experience as they take control of their finances. So to kick off the prototyping process, we began by creating thumbnails by hand. This step allowed us to visualize the layout and overall structure of the user interface in a quick and flexible way. It gave us the freedom to explore various design ideas and adjust them before diving into our digital tools. Once we had a solid concept, we transitioned into creating a mockup in Figma. This mockup served as a polished prototype offering a detailed representation of how we envisioned the app to look and function. Figma provided a collaborative platform where we could refine the design, ensuring alignment with our goals for simplicity and user accessibility.
The research phase is one of the most important phases of SDLC. What we wanted to do was meet our requirement goals with a framework that would give us the ability and flexibility to write code one time instead of 3 times. This is due to the fact that we have 3 different places that we wanted to write at. One would be for our Android application, iOS, and our Windows. This led us to a comparison of 2 of the biggest frameworks out there right now, which is Flutter and React Native. We eventually would choose Flutter because it is a Google officially supported app. It will allow a lot of flexibility, documentation, and allow us to implement in the most efficient way possible. Through our research phase, we also wanted to have a place where we could store all of this data that we were compiling, all of these keys that we were receiving from our users and their financial information. We wanted to utilize a client server model. So we did go out and look and compare and contrast a few of them that were out there. This was going to include Amazon Web Services, IBM Cloud Free Database, Firebase, and Microsoft Azure. Now, our final selection will come down to Firebase. And one of the biggest reasons was that is throughout our research and development process, we wanted to streamline our processes. One of our team members actually had history of utilizing Firebase, and they highly recommended it. So Firebase did become our final candidate.
So the development of the application leverages the power and flexibility of Flutter and Dart to construct the core user interface. This choice ensures a smooth and consistent experience for users across Android and iOS platforms while reducing the need to duplicate coding while maintaining high performance. During the development phase, essential pages were outlined to address users' primary financial needs. These include, first, the login and sign-up pages, which secure user access with streamlined account creation and login functionality, and the budgeting and overview pages, which provide tools to set, track, and adjust budgets with ease. The main dashboard, which provides a concise overview of financial status, including income, expenses, and savings progress. The transactions page with detailed logs to help users monitor their spending habits, and the user profile, which provides customizable account settings to personalize the user's experience.
For our system design, we wanted to simplify our process and make sure that our waterfall system was very efficient. One of the easiest ways to do that is through proper planning. So what we wanted to do was we created an entity relationship diagram. We keyed our major key sources of data that we were going to have to transfer between all of our classes. Now, this resulted in 26 different unique keys that were involved, and to keep track of this without any organization would have been very hard for our implementation. So what we did was we created all of our classes, put our keys, defined what our function keys are and how we could iterate to them. That way, no matter where we are in the process, every team member knows their responsibility and they know how to get this, let's say, something like a balance from the user profile to their transaction screen so that we can show them their information and their data. Lastly, what this will allow us to do is to make it easier for us to go back and set algorithms and know exactly where we are throughout our entire design process. Part of our backend design was to qualify ourselves with the Department of Treasury Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. This is known as FinCEN, and they are the #1 government agency that will give you your requirements for something such as a banking application. They want to make sure that we are protecting our user information from any hostile acts or intents. What we were going to do then is we wanted to choose a solution that is going to not only give us our database, but also is going to give us a level of authentication to protect our user information. And that is what led us down to the Firebase core, the Firebase authentication, and the Cloud Firestore to save our users' information.
And with that, we conclude our presentation slides. Now I'm going to take you through a demo of the actual app just to show you how it works. I'm going to test it in Microsoft Edge first, just because it'll work a lot quicker that way. And then later I will demonstrate it again using the Android emulator. So first we have the login page. This is the page in which users can log into their account and access the app's features. The image at the top is supposed to be like the company's logo, but to be honest, I spent a lot more time coding this than I did working on logos. Since the logo wasn't like a necessary thing. So for now, I just have this placeholder image. for the logo. And this page also has 2 links. It has a forgot password link for those who forgot their password, and a create user link for new users. Let's create a new user now. I'm just going to input a random email of mine to use as an example. Be sure the email you use is a legitimate one, because if it's not, you won't be able to verify your account. So yeah. So yeah, like I just did, I can create an account by putting in 4 values: a name, an email, a phone number, and then a password, which is obscured. The email and password will be what is used when you log in. So you just use that again. And boom, it logs you in. Just to show on, those are logos I was working on. To show you it shows up in Firebase as a user, and it shows up in the Firestore database under users as well. I think there we go. Yep. So this is our home page. It has 2 values at the top, which are current balance and monthly income. The user can edit these 2 values to reflect the current amount of money they have in their account and the amount of money they earn every month. So, for example, I could do something like, I have $1,000. You have to click enter. You see it shows up right there. And you could do the same for monthly income. Say I have 4,000, and same thing, it shows up. And like I just showed, the values are then saved in Firebase's Firestore under the user's account, and then any edits to the values. So let's say I change this $1,000 to $1,200. It'll reflect the edits as well. The home page also has 4 buttons at the bottom: a upcoming bills button, a spending summary button, an upcoming debts button, and a tips and insights button. I'll show you where 3 of these buttons lead now. So first, we have the upcoming bills page. Like it says, this is basically meant to serve as a reminder to you to when you have certain bills due. The user can add bills they have here, and that allows them to use this page as reference to remember like important due dates that they have in the near future. So, for example, I could say something like rent, say the 1st, and boom, it adds it there. And I could also edit it if I want to. So I could change that to the 2nd, for example, and it'll allow me to do that. So yeah, and if you click on this, you'll see that it shows up as a collection, which it saves. So yeah, upcoming debts is very similar. It has basically the exact same function as the upcoming debts. It's just for debt payments instead of bills. So let's say the 15th, and yeah, like before, you can edit it. And if you go to the user's account, it shows up. So yeah. Oh, and you can also like delete them and it'll delete itself from the Firebase. Next is the tips and insights page. This isn't really meant to be like an interactive page. It's more so just like an informative page that's meant to give the user basic tips on what could be helpful when it comes to budgeting. Because we want to help our users with making financial decisions, we figured having a page like this may be helpful when it comes to giving them advice. So, yeah. Now, the last button is this button, a spending summary button, but because we've just created our account, we haven't inputted any transactions yet. So let's go to the transactions page now. This is the transactions page. Here you have the option of adding, editing, and deleting transactions as part of a list, all of which will save the transactions to a transactions collection in Firebase. This list is going to be sorted from most recent to least recent, and I will demonstrate that now. For example, I just give random descriptor, I don't know, we'll say a couple days ago. And you put a category, which is, stuff like, is it groceries, is it food, is it rent, like the type of bill it is, basically. Let's say $50. And it shows up. And I'll just add like another few of these just to kind of fill this up real quick. And as you can see, the date is printed at the top, the description of the transaction right below the date, and then the category of the transaction and the costs are printed below. I'm trying to add them for like multiple months because it's December right now, but I'm trying to add for multiple months because another feature of the app will track it over multiple months, so I want it to be able to do that. Also, by the way, you can add as many as you want to with this. It'll save them all, and just to refresh this real quick, it'll have a new like collections for transactions. You see right there, and it'll save all of those. I think I'll add one more, and then I think that'll be good enough. But yeah, as you can see, they all they go from most recent to least recent. So today's the 2nd of December, so that would be what shows first. And least recent, which in this case would be submitted an October date, it would go at the bottom. Also, the current balance value, the one here, it's also represented here. The current balance and the account balance are the exact same value, and it is editable here too. So, for example, I could just change this back to 1,000, and it would reflect here as well. Now, we initially planned for our app to be both manual and be integrated with Plaid's API. And by the way, Plaid is a tool that allows developers to access and interact with financial data from banks and other financial institutions. So by using the API, we wanted to allow the user to actually draw their financial data from their actual bank accounts to use in the app. But we ran into trouble regarding utilizing the API within the limited time frame we had. So because this is an app about finances, to actually deploy something with Plaid's API involves complying with various compliance measures, like verifying your business, having certain security and regulations documentation, things like that. And it took a little bit of time to communicate with Plaid to get that information, and also about us using a sandbox environment, which is like a kind of like test data for us to use. So for the ease of this creating this prototype and for our demonstration, we have decided to just have the app operate fully in manual mode for now. This means that with the transactions, the user will have to input all of their transactions and their financial information themselves. And by the way, in the future, I may edit the app to actually have that sandbox and then later the full API integration. But just for our purposes today, the Plaid integration isn't necessary. It's just an extra feature to make things easier for the user. So yeah, let's just move on. At any rate, though, now that we have data saved for the transaction page, let's go back to the spending summary button on the home page. And this directs the user to a page in which they can see how much money they have spent on each category within the past 30 days and how much money they've spent within the last 30 days altogether. So next, we're going to go to the budget page. This page has two sections, a monthly expenses section and a goals section. The monthly expenses section is basically meant to be a list in which the user tracks how much money they want to allocate per category of expenses each month. The app will then remember these values and compare them with the user's actual spendings in another page to see if they have gone over or under budget. The budget page also visually represents the user's budget with a pie chart, which I will show now. And it displays a pie chart. And that is meant to visually represent how much of their income should go where each month. So, for example, if I keep filling this up, it'll keep filling the pie chart with stuff. So yeah, I'll just fill this real quick. And like before, these are also able to be edited and deleted, so I could delete what I just wrote. And yeah, and do all that. Just see. And yeah, you can see it right here. The goals section, on the other hand, it functions a lot more similarly to the upcoming bills and upcoming debt pages, in that it's basically meant to serve as a reminder to the user about like savings goals that they have. So say, for example, I have a vacation I want to save for that's $1,500. I'll just input that and it'll serve as basically as a reminder that, hey, I need to save $1,500 to reach that goal. Either way, I can again look here in goals and budget. So yeah, all that saves to Firebase too. Now to move on to the overview page. This page has three sections: a monthly expenditure section, a net income section, and a other tools section. The monthly expenditure section basically tracks the user's spendings by category, and it calculates it over the past 3 months, and then it plots them on the graph for the user to see, so they can track, what they've been spending money on and how much each category they've spent money on within the past 3 months. And you can see the values of each show up there. And this is like the total cost. So for example, if I have multiple grocery bills, like it'll take the total sum of all the grocery transactions I have. Okay, now to move on to net income. This basically allows the user to calculate the amount of money they'd have after their expenses, which is a simple calculation, which is basically total income minus total expenses. and that would result in their net income. So, for example, 4,000, let's just say 3,000, and subtract that, and it'll be 1,000 left over. And finally, we have the other tools section, which point to 3 subpages. There's a spendings compared to budget page. There's a credit information and just general credit advice page. And then there's a take-home money after taxes calculator page. Here is the spendings compared to budget page. This compares what the user has spent money on within the past month with the budget they set, and then calculates the difference to let them know whether they are currently on budget, over budget, or under budget. So in this case, I've only really put like 2 transactions for the current month. So it's obviously going to say I'm under budget for right now, but it would continue to track it the more transactions you put in there. So yeah, next up is the credit advice page. This serves a similar purpose to the tips and insights page, but instead of just giving general advice about budgeting and finances, it gives advice about credit cards and credit scores. So, yep. And also, by the way, this is like centered, so if I do that, it'll expand with the screen size. Finally, we have the take-home money calculator. This one basically does what it says. It's a calculator that calculates the amount of money you'll have to take home after your taxes. This is meant to be for U.S. residents specifically, as different countries and whatnot around the world have many different ways in which they tax people. So because the app is primarily aimed at an American audience, we decided to just focus on the U.S. for the calculator. So yeah, and like it says, it only considers federal tax, state tax, the average local tax, Social Security, and Medicare. So this is just like a rough estimate, because everybody has like special circumstances. Like some people get certain deductions, like I mentioned here, and certain benefits. So yeah, this is just a rough estimate just to give an idea of how much money you might have after filing your taxes. And yeah, your take-home pay, and it lets you know how much is deducted for what. And yep. So after that, let's go to the settings page. This page basically combines the app's settings features with a display of the user's profile, allowing the user to see their name, email, and the phone number that they inputted when making the account. The user also has the option of choosing a profile picture, so I'll just demonstrate real quick. Yep, so it displays. As of now, they can only upload image files to Firebase, but not the other way around. So to show what I mean, it stores in Firebase storage, right? So it'll store here. So this is the one right here. And so basically, it'll save to Firebase, but the code can't retrieve from Firebase. I do have the code in the page to retrieve from Firebase, so I'll try to find that to kind of show what I mean. Right here. Yep. For some reason, when I tried to test this out, I was getting a lot of permission errors with that, despite me allowing read-write access and my storage rules in Firebase. So I think it might be like a course issue, which is cross-origin resource sharing, and that is a security standard that allows users to request resources from different domains. So I think it might be like a security issue that I might need to look into, and it's nothing wrong with like my actual code itself. But yeah, because the profile image is also not like really an essential feature for our app, I just decided to leave it be for now. Anyway, apart from that, the app is able to retrieve all the essential data from Firebase, as you can see. The user is also able to edit their name, their email, and their phone number by clicking Edit Profile. So, for example, I could just do that. And boom, it shows up like that. And if I look now in Firestore under that name, that user, it will show up. So yeah, it saves any changes you make to your profile. This page also has 3 links to different subpages at the bottom, which are all related to settings features. The first one, password and recovery options, it's a page in which it informs you about your verification options when forgetting your password, in this case, your email and your phone. And it also gives you the option of changing your account's password. So I could do that. And next time I log in, I'll have to use that new password. The next 2 pages are also meant to be informative pages. This page, the data privacy page, informs the user about how we store and protect their data and all the rights they have regarding their data. And yeah, and then this page, the FAQ page, it's a page that goes through all the common questions the user may have about the app. And then at the bottom, it gives a contact email. So in case none of the answers for the questions are helping, they can contact us and we can try to help them out. Also, obviously, because this is just a prototype, that's not an actual email. And finally, 2 features the setting page includes a sign out feature, which logs the user out of their account, and a delete account feature, which deletes the user's account and all of their data from Firebase. Let's sign out right now so I can show you the forgot password functionality. I'll navigate to the forgot password page. Here you can input either your email or your phone number to start the process. I'll just use my email in this case. So now we get a verification code sent to our email. This is to verify that we are who we say we are. So I'll go and it shows up. So in this case, we have to look for the OOP code that Firebase generates when sending the verification code. Unfortunately, the email that Firebase sends is not very customizable. They have like a default template that you have to follow. So if you want to make like your own kind of template, you have to use like a third-party service for that. So just for our purposes here, the default is fine. So we'll just take the OOP code from the link here. So you see where it says OOP code in the link. We'll just copy that. And we will use it for our verification code. And we enter the code, and boom, it takes us to the reset password page. This is where the user can reset their password. So I'll just input a new password. And after I do that, the app will redirect back to the login page, and then you can just log in using, that password. The verification via phone numbers works a similar way. It just, instead of getting an email, you get sent an SMS message to your phone. However, as my code is now, the phone verification also seems to have some kind of like security block from Firebase's end. So when I was debugging the app, I just set like a phone number in Firebase authentication so that I could just use that to test out the test verification code and via the phone method, and just to make sure that worked properly, and I managed to do that. So yeah, you can see it. You see, I just messed with these settings. I gotta. Yeah, you see phone number for testing. I just like had one of these for that. And yeah, that's about all the functionality the app has as of current. Of course, if we were to actually deploy this app, we'd add the integration with Plaid and provide all the necessary documentation we'd need, and we'd fix any of the remaining bugs like the security blocks that I keep running into with Firebase from their end, not mine. And then maybe also add some extra security features just to make the app even more secure. Firebase does handle a lot of security themselves, like they encrypt all the data that they store on their end. But I'd probably add some extra encryption on the app's end too, just because this is a financial app we're talking about. Any application that has anything to do with money needs to have security as a top priority for obvious reasons, since financial data is very sensitive and all. So to finish off, I am going to test the app again in the emulator just to show that it works there too. To finish off, I'm going to test the app again, but in the emulator this time, just to show that it works there too. In order to do this, I had to mess with Android Studio quite a bit, even though I coded the majority of the app in Visual Studio Code. This was because I was able to create like the actual emulator itself as a device in Android Studio, and because Android Studio allows me to set like the SDK settings and all that other stuff. So yeah, it's a little. This is why I was testing it with Microsoft Edge, because the emulator can be a little slow. But it does like work. It just can be a pain to debug on. And yeah, as you can see, it shows up there too. Loads very slowly, but I don't have an actual Android device, so I just kind of have to, just use this. To finish off, let's go to settings and let's delete the user's account this time. So first, before we do that, let me go to here, and you can see the email's still there as of right now. And yeah, it'll prompt your password before deleting. And yeah, and now when you load this again, the account is gone. And you look here, and it's saying the document does not exist. So I think if I just I guess it's need to delete the actual the document is gone, but it's showing up as the ID. Okay, but point made, it deletes the document from Firebase, and so the user is effectively deleted. And yeah, that deletes pretty much all of their data. And yeah, that's about it. I also have the Figma mock-up that was made here. And as you can see, it's visually very similar. And it was like the guide that we used to like when designing the actual UI. We just kind of use this as a guide. So yeah, they look pretty similar. There's like some minor differences, but other than that, it's pretty much the same thing. But yeah, there you have it. This is our budgeting app, Don't Go Broke, and we designed it in such a way as to make budgeting just a little bit easier. Thank you for watching.